Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. What you're about to witness is three people at the edge of their rope organs because everything went wrong right before the show. Genuinely, right before the show. Jordan's internet's died. Then YouTube died. Then my bandwidth died. And Pedro had a retaining screw on his microphone that was slightly loose. So he was completely distraught during the entire episode as well. But we soldiered on and pulled through. So we might look just a wee bit distracted. But we still did it. Let's see how it turned out. And welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. And this week, do you remember last week when Valve hired some of the team behind Kerbal's space program? Turns out we now know why. And Micro Machines World Series, it's headed to the Linux. And later on, I'm going to make you not want to buy it with just 2 words.
Intel wants to save your life in the virtual world. The real world. And one of the first text game gets good. Get good.
Valve announces the cost of Steam Direct. For a brief moment in time, you could hear the collective facepalm as they did. And Martin Wimpress decided to put his magic internet monies to use, and he put the Razer Core external GPU enclosure to the test on Linux.
I'm Ben Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing this true, honest-to-flying spaghetti monster nightmare fuel and the stuff we've been through in the pre-show, all in the Linux, and it's quite brilliant, joined every week by this pieces of Discord and everything else, man, up in Canada way.
Oh, God, I'm just waiting for it all to just catch fire and die.
That is one master's fang. And all the way from Space, Portugal. One Pedro.
I am the one having the least issues.
No?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Not a whole lot this week. But kind of tried to hack my trash guy. That was fun because they got a new truck and all that, and they're taking their business automatically, which means they're not taking out the few cardboard boxes I have nice and folded up for them. That was irritating. And so I kind of move it behind my brick mailbox thing. Now the guy has to get out of his truck and all that fun stuff. That worked. What's up, baby?
Well, around here, I am starting to get worried about the supposed job I was going to be doing in the UK, and they were kind of supposedly going to pay for my expenses, relocating and everything. And they've been quiet, very quiet. I'm getting very, very worried. So if anyone needs a remote Linux sysadmin type deal, ring me up. My email address. Just let me know. I'll do things for money.
It's not IBM, let me tell you.
What's up, man?
Over here, my ISP decided it wants to shit the bed at 9:30 on a Saturday night, so we've been working on this shit. Beyond that, I kind of want to die right now. Okay. But you know who is dead? Is the horse, because we beat it to death week after week after week. It's the Steam!
It works.
Update of the week.
Okay, you guys are going to have to vamp. I got to play around with the OBS. Go.
All right.
Ooh, fun. So, all right.
Steam Direct, we've been talking about it for the past, I don't know how long. It's been a few weeks, actually. And they have been putting out blog posts every now and again to give people an update on the different things that they're doing. And now, one of the things that people were still discussing was, okay, so how much do video game developers that want to be on Steam, how much money will they have to pay in order to, be on Steam? Since Greenlight is getting the axe, how much would they have to pay? And they say that they looked at both ends of the initial value range that they were looking at, which was between $100, that's the usual default Greenlight thing, and $5,000. Now, $5,000, everyone basically agreed that it would be probably a little too prohibitive for certain indie groups just starting out and putting out their new game. So they decided, for some reason, to go with $100. Yeah, $100. Ben?
I mean, that's what you pay for like an Android Play subscription. And I was kind of hoping for $350 because that seems like a reasonable amount. It's more than what you can just dig out of a couch, but not so much that it's crippling for your average developer group. And one of the other things that they're they're also changing the curation thing. So now you can add videos and reviews to your curation page, which means that you can start seeing our Left 4 Brad videos on the Left 4 Dead page. Oh god, we're just gonna kill the Steam store with all our reviews. People are gonna watch our shit and be like, "What the hell is this? I'm never gonna buy this game."
Well, they also they claim a little bit of a teaser at the end of the post. They say that the next post will cover the whole sunsetting of Greenlight and the correct timing for allowing people to start using Steam Direct. Guess we'll have to see. I mean, just putting the entry fee at $100. The only thing it gets rid of is the voting bullshit. It just eliminates the scammers and schemers trying to, quote unquote, help people get onto Steam Greenlight. But it doesn't get rid of the issue. The sheer amount of shit games that get up on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's ultimately still always going to be an issue. But yeah, this is just Greenlight without voting, and Steam's going to, once again, try to automate that voting, the non-voting system, so it will immediately be gamed, hopefully fixed, and then gamed again, and hopefully fixed. Looking forward to it, but Ashes of the HTC Vive's up next. Burp.
Yeah, they so we a couple months ago we talked about how HTC had gone and purchased a wireless HDMI company with the hopes of improving latency for the HTC Vive, so you could actually walk around without having a bunch of cables crammed into the back of your neck, a la The Matrix. Looks like that didn't play out too well because they have a demo out now, or a demo unit, anyways, that they've been experimenting with this. That uses one of Intel's wireless HDMI technologies. It uses the 802.11ad, which is the multi-gigabit Wi-Fi that wireless AC is supposed to provide up to gigabit Wi-Fi. Theoretically, AD is the the second generation one after that. It does require quite a bit of dedicated frequency, though. I'm actually curious because one of the neat possibilities of VR would be having multiple headsets. You need like some crazy computer to pull this off. But how much frequency space does this actually require? Because if you have some other wireless AD stuff there, will it just completely nix your latency-free experience? Also, fuck you, CNET, on your auto-playing videos. I think we switched to the Anantech article though, but the original one was from CNET. Fuck them, and their stupid monkey heads.
Yeah. Now, one thing that always comes up when you talk about VR is like latency, input latency, the delay of getting stuff directly projected into your eyes, because any kind of latency, even if it's just the frame rate that's having a bit of a dip, that's always going to cause issues, and you will be repurposing your headset as a puke bag because it's the closest bowl-shaped thing that you have at hand. And if they don't have that
through your eyes, Pedro, do you? I'm just curious.
No, but you're just going to pull it down and put it in front of your mouth because, hey, saves on the cleanup. But they will have to absolutely get that latency down pat. Otherwise, you will just be leaving a barf trail while walking around with your HTC Vive.
I don't see a problem with that.
No, but I guess ultimately what we got to kind of look forward to is all the YouTube videos that we're definitely going to be getting with this, and I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit brilliant, and all good times will be had. But
now it's the ashes.
Now it's time for the ashes of Singularity Escalation. That's their Linux request sign-up sheet. 44 pages of people screaming for it. Now, personally, not really heard of the game outside of it was one of the earlier games with the DX12 render. Now that they've got everything with the Vulcan sorted out on that operating system that shall not be named, so they're thinking, why not just move it over to the Linux? I don't know, Pedro. Is this a custom engine or?
No, this is very much a custom engine. They have been building it up, and they've been advertising. They've been doing a really poor job of advertising the game itself, because all we ever hear about Ashes of the Singularity is, oh, look at all these benchmarks of comparing DirectX 11, DirectX 12, Vulcan. They're going to be adding Vulcan.
So it's the Talos principle of Windows, essentially.
Almost, yeah. But there is a bit of a guise of a real-time strategy game in there somewhere, so I honestly don't care. But one thing I do care is that it's like, oh yeah, if you're a Linux person, please sign here. 44 pages of people saying yes should send some kind of message. Just saying.
I don't know, man. I think the more the merrier, and we're going to see more of this with companies saying, all right, well, if we're going to do the X12, might as well do Vulcan. Once you have Vulcan, I'm not saying, your render is the biggest hurdle in the world from getting over to Linux, but it's a big one. And once that's kind of out of the way, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more good things. All right.
Okay, so Gilf with your friends.
Golfing. Oh yeah, no, this stupid fucking game that I hate with a fiery passion that rivals the heat of 1,000 supernovae has an update. They've updated the engine to Unity 5.6, which I'm actually curious if eventually they're gonna hit the Vulcan button in Unity. We're gonna get Vulcan with friends. I don't know. They list out a bunch of fixes that they've done, and I'm pretty sure that 99% of them is just very subtle little breakages in the physics engine just to fuck you up. just to add a little more fuck you to this game of go fuck yourself. Just saying.
Yeah, no, it's one of those multiplayer only games that only really ever work if you're playing with friends and you're all in a Skype call or you're all around the same PC. Who has those kinds
also
of friends?
drunk.
I don't know. I sure as hell don't. But yeah, no, I think the whole Vulcan with your friends thing is a good idea, but eventually it'll just turn into a Spocker orgy.
I mean, it's definitely a fun game. A lot of updates, new maps, and all this fun stuff. Kind of get the feeling that this game kind of needs to start heading a little bit out of early access, because I think part of the charm of this game is most definitely part of the jank of it, right?
Yeah, it has the little goat simulator thing going for it, where it just is kind of broken, and that's kind of part of where the quote unquote fun is. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, go on.
I was just gonna say, I think this is just gonna be one of those perpetually early access games that'll just continue on and never actually release a 1.0.
Right. Okay, so what's this
now?
about?
We have some revolution on our hands. Yes. Well, not really.
It's revolting.
It's Hover, Revolt of Gamers. And I can't be the only one that feels like shoehorning the word gamers onto a title of a game is doing it a bigger disservice than, say, if they just call it Hover Revolt. And I know I'm not the only one, because Foxdog on the show note comments, you too can have show note access and leave us some comments of your own, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, he also agrees with me. It's like, yeah, everywhere else, if you look at the game binary, it's just called Hover. And when you start it up, it just shows up as Hover. So, yeah. But this game is, they say, experience the thrills of a fast-paced single and multiplayer parkour game. They compare it to the likes of Jet Set Radio and so on and so forth. So if you were into those kinds of games, this is probably something to look at. It's currently 20% off. It's usually around 20 of your local wet stinky caches. So it's $15.99 right now. I don't know. It does.
I was just gonna say Unity and open world usually doesn't go all that well together, just because there's a bit of the traditional Unity jank. But I mean, I like Jet Set Radio feature. It kind of looks like it has a bit of a Kinetica vibe, at least with the visual aesthetic and some of the combos. And there's some Mirror's Edge parkour stuff. So I mean, it has my attention. It looks interesting. I'd be willing to give it a spin. What about you, Ben? What do you think?
Really, the only thing I'm thinking about with this is, if it's full of eels, yes. Outside of that, we're just definitely going to have to see. But one thing I want...
Please fondle my buttocks, Ben.
I didn't expect this to show up, but it's Micro Machines World Series. And I was like, ooh, getting really excited about the single player. I was like, online multi. I was like, oh, lads, we have another game to play, and it's Codemasters. So kind of squeed a little bit, just a little bit. But then... Unfortunately, those two words, because I was reading through the additional notes, for your audio listeners, let's see if I can come down here. It's like Intel graphics not supported, Mesa 1702, all that. Wayland currently unsupported. All right, good on them for mentioning that, at least. And I was like, that warning smells a little feral to me, but hey, it was not to be, because it's a virtual programming, air quotes all around it, port, the fine folks who brought you such nope as The Witcher 2, Biocock Infinite, and Saints Row. And don't think for a second that special brand of jank from VP is exclusive to Linux. Nay, as we've said before and we'll say again, they've been pumping out Mac ports of questionable quality for years. Not making that up. That is what I've read on the internet, and I know that's true because, whatever. Listen,
you read it on the internet?
Yeah. Saints Row 2, it's still got issues. Witcher, it's still got issues. Yeah, it kind of killed me a little bit, P-Baby.
Yeah, no, I was kind of looking forward to it. I very much enjoyed playing the Micro Machines games, especially on the Game Boy Color back in the day. But the moment Strider was joking about it on Discord earlier in the week, oh, it's totally going to be virtual programming. And I'm like, well, if it is, I won't give a damn. So, yeah, don't care.
Jordan, thoughts?
I mean, I'm not really that into racers. It's just kind of shitty that the virtual programming is still getting business after all of the crap that they have put us through. You're tearing us apart, Lisa. It's no dice. But speaking of little RC cars with I guess some sort of racisting elements, there's another game that's in early access that you're kind of interested in.
Hey man, yeah, this might have came to make the day just a little bit better, a little bit sweeter. Brawlers Nitro, cars, guns, multiplayer mayhem. This is like 2.5D rocket cars, currently in early access, 14.99 wet stinky caches. But it does have that online multiplayer co-op, online co-op, you name it. They got it going on, and it is currently, for the Linux, doesn't need a whole lot to run. That also made me happy and excited because we could get a lot more people in. Unfortunately, currently, right now, there's only one review for it. Pedro, I know you said some keys, but hey, man, I kind of want to play it, but I don't know if I want to early access $14.99 play it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I did send them an email, and I didn't send them the usual, oh, we want review keys, please give. No, I wrote them an email and told them that we usually don't do this. We don't really go for the early access games, but you very much piqued our interest because, as far as I'm concerned, yes, that looks kind of fun. I want to play it, but they have not replied, so we'll see. Maybe they'll see the show and decide to kick us a few keys. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Jordan looks terribly excited about it.
I mean, like it's RC. It's basically like isometric rocket cars rumble mode, right? I mean, it could very well be fun. I don't know. They'd have to send us some keys. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more. Say no more. No, this is going to wink to a blind bat. But I think we're almost to. I think we're about to hit the close point. We just got one last thing, and that is the mangoes. So this is from Hitman, the Agent 47, the Feral port. Apparently, they have a huge swath of content incoming, which surprises Ven quite a bit, but they're adding 2 new extended missions with a bunch of goals, restrictions, and more gameplay that you can go through. Because like the game is huge. There's a ton of ways to attack any single one of these people, and so this will generate multiple hours of content. They're also adding a bunch of community developed content as well. Now, the studio is not dead. It looks, what happened was, and we covered this a couple weeks ago, Square has pulled the funding from IO Interactive. So I think this is this probably was done while IO was still being funded. And the timing of this release may be something from IO saying, hey, we still can put out some content. It's people are still liking this game. We're engaging the community. Maybe give us some money so we can continue this engagement and make you guys some more money. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just going to say Hitman's all right. It's in the shelf of games that I'm waiting to get a Vulcan render or or getting a faster computer like Deus Ex, because this is not very performant. It's something I could probably get into, and I can only say that because we were able to skip apparently most of the episodic bullshit, but they're going to add some more stuff. Pedro, is this going to get everyone happy and excited again?
I don't know about happy and excited, because Hitman, it was a game that was marred by its episodic release. That right there put a lot of people off, and a lot of people said, you know what, when it's all out, I'll get it. Now, to be fair, when it came to Linux, it was already done and all the episodes were out, so we got the full package. So that's plus, at least as far as the Linux community is concerned. This is still a relatively new game. And yeah, getting more content for free, that's nice. Gimme.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a full package.
Yes.
Giggity. All right. Well, coming up next, we discuss the pros and cons of keeping old-ass drivers in your Git tree. And what happens when you plug a Razer into your computer.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, avert your eyes. We're going to take our clothes off and whore ourselves out to you, because for some reason you think that's a good idea and you keep giving us money. What the hell?
I know, especially people like Brian Colden, who keep giving us money over Patreon. We owe them a big old thanks. And you too can be financially irresponsible adults and head on over to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast to help donate. We get paid per show, so if we don't put one out this week, and we put one out every week, neither rain nor sleet nor internet going out, we will put one out. You can, if we don't, you don't have to pay. That's great. $1 a month gets you access to, or $1 a show rather, gets you access to a whole bunch of stuff. We got Game of Who, our Doctor Who commentary tracks. We got a bunch of players videos. We got a bunch of so much stuff we put out, man. We are not prudes. We put ourselves out there. If you donate $2.50 a show, you get show note access. You can be like Foxy and be able to like complain at us before we even go live. It's kind of brilliant. If the Patreon stuff is not your deal, though, you can always head on over to LinuxGameCast.com, hit the support the shows button. We got Amazon affiliate links, we got Amazon wish lists, PayPal donate buttons, a Bitcoin QR code to send us some magic internet money. People have been buying stuff off the Amazon wish list. Nothing this week, but if you do contribute, you get to go up on the wall of fine, upstanding cannibals, or as Ven likes to call it, the fuck wall. Isn't that right?
It's kind of brilliant. It's kind of green, too. It's awesome. That will always be around in every incarnation of every studio we do, up and including the log cabin. It'll be somewhere in the corner. It'll be terribly awesome. But hey, man.
Are we going to have like a fuck log at the log cabin?
It's just going to be one fuck fest to find upstanding. I mean, however you want to look at it. Hey, listen, this is a wholly used listener supported. We don't take ads, and thanks for letting us do this bullshit every Saturday. And for Pedro and I, and Matthew Strider and Shoutrealm joining us live, our Wednesday show, which is just a little bit more suit and tie than this craziness. Okay, what's up?
So, starting as usual with some drivers. Now, this is not a new driver release. This is, Timothy Arceri, that replied to one of the Mesa devs that he was saying, okay, so we need to do something about those old legacy drivers, because whenever we want to add a new bit of functionality, a new GL extension, proper Vulcan support, what have yous, new features are always going to have to hack around the old drivers to make it work on the new ones. So he proposed, Ian Romanek, if I'm not mistaken, he proposed that basically get rid of the or not get rid entirely of the old drivers, but branch them off.
Actually, correction, Ian Romanek says no. He doesn't.
Oh, yes.
This.
Yeah, Ian Romanek is the one that does not want it. It's Timothy Arceri was the one who actually proposed it. Yes. And yeah, there was going to be a lot of people in the Mesa Git saying it's like, that's in theory a good idea, but it's also going to bring some issues, and I can see where they're coming from. I mean, yeah, it is a lot of work to support all of those legacy drivers and keep that stuff up to date currently, and it is even more work when you start, like I said, trying to add new features to the new drivers. So branching them off sounds like a good idea, and those are very good points to make that branch a thing. But it won't get rid of all the work, because sure, you can branch those off, but there are still a lot of people using those old legacy drivers. Okay, maybe not a lot, but a significant few, and you will at least have to keep that branch up to date and in line with kernel, X, Wayland, so on and so forth. So yeah.
I mean, if you look at it though, Matrox drivers are in the legacy branch, and those still see some use.
Yeah.
I think at this point, having modern drivers that support all these nice features that are actually being used, because you can always just stick with your older version of Mesa. There's nothing really that absolutely depends on these older versions of Mesa. I think having modern drivers that support features like Vulcan, like EGL, is a lot more desirable and a lot more useful than having a bunch of older hardware that doesn't support these things that you consistently have to code around. There's the issue of code maintainability, and Mesa is a big, complex project, and making it bigger and more complex without good reason does not bode well for when you want to add new game-changing things like RADV, like EGL support, and so on.
I can definitely see that. So this is primarily only going to affect 3D acceleration, correct?
Yes, you won't exactly
anything
lose
with GL. So you can still do 2D GL acceleration.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, worst case scenario. I mean, if you have one of these cards that could get noped, you're not playing modern games in the first place. So maintain the 2D support. If you want to play 3D, roll back to a retro distro and play it there, maybe.
Or compile your own Mesa from Git, which is feasible-ish.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what you have to do if you want, for example, a Matrox card, like I said before.
Yeah. All right. So that
speaking
wraps
of
us up.
GPUs, though. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to use, say, a modern GPU along with your Thunderbolt 3 enabled laptop, well, someone has kind of already put in the work for you. Yep, Mr. Martin Wimpress. There'll be links in the show notes for everything as usual. And there'll be a link for this week's Ubuntu podcast, where Martin gives everyone a breakdown of how he got the Razer core. And basically, he then put a GTX 1080 in it and plugged it into as many devices as he could put his hands on. And as it turns out, that PCIe by 4 bottleneck isn't really killing performance anywhere near as much as I originally assumed. According to Martin, he is getting a 20 to 30% performance decrease while using that 1080 Ti through the Razer core than if he just plugged it in directly into a system.
Okay, riddle me this, P-Man. Maybe I don't know what a Razer Core is, and you're talking moon speak right now.
Oh, yes. Razer Core is an external Thunderbolt 3 external GPU enclosure that you can get from Razer, obviously. And it costs just the enclosure itself, which comes with the built-in power supply and the PCIe slot where you can plug in your GPU. It'll run you for about 500 of your local currencies, plus whatever you want to pay for the video card. But yeah, it's his intention with doing this was to see if you wanted to play games on a laptop or a lower end system that didn't have a dedicated GPU. If as long as it has Thunderbolt 3, if you plug it in, can you just see the performance gains right there? And you can by several orders of magnitude. So, if you look at the chart that Ven's showing you right now, you can see that the Skull Canyon Nook, which comes with an i7-6770Q or HQ, something like that, it went from, in superposition, in the medium preset at 1080p, it went from an average of 10 frames per second to 106 frames per second. Yeah, that's a big gain right there, and you can see that replicated through a bunch of laptops, even compared to like the Entroware Athena, which has a dedicated GTX 980M. It just blows everything out of the water. It's a really good.
Are you trying to imply if I take a big honking wicked expensive piece of hardware and fuse it with something else, it's faster?
On Linux, yes, because it worked out of the box on Linux, and that's the real thing. It's like he just took it. Some people were saying that, oh, it's Thunderbolt 3. You might want to upgrade the firmware on the core because they released a firmware update that improves Linux support. But he just tried it out of the box, plugged it in, boom. All of those games you see there, out of the box. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, you will have to pay a lot of money if you want to get the Razer Core.
About half a Bitcoin, yeah?
Yeah, that was actually the big kicker. He paid half a Bitcoin for the Razer Core and the 1080 Ti.
I take the hell out of this, really, because one of the big things I look for in a laptop is battery life, and I often have that desire to compromise because I want to be able to game on it occasionally. So I wanted to have a dedicated GPU, but that kills the battery life, that reduces my options. I want something thin and light, and dedicated GPU does not really allow for that. But Thunderbolt technology and its ilk are only getting better over time because we have like 3 iterations of it within the past 5 years. So we're going to start seeing some of the PCIe times 8, times 6, maybe even times 16. We'll probably need to change the interface at some point, but still, it's impressive. And you're going to get some pretty sick gains if you want to do some gaming on a less powerful machine.
And say you want to upgrade that laptop or that Nook that you're using at some point down the line, you can keep the Razer Core with the GPU that's in it, and you just change to a new system.
Or replace the GPU, yeah.
Or replace the GPU, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stuff awesome. Like this, terribly expensive and all that. It's wicked neat, but then I start having flashbacks to my original, they were called Genesis here. Genesis with the 32X with a CD and like 16 plugs.
The Tower of Power, yeah. Let's bring that back. 2017 is the year of the Tower of Power desktop. This is
the perfect device to have it and benchmark it and be like, all right, we had enough of that, and move on with your life. Hey, man, Humble, Adult Swim games. It's like, why are you talking about this? Because lo and behold, if you didn't know, they have several Linux titles. I mean, they are out there. We have Volgar the Viking, which I've never played. Rise and Shine, haven't played that. And what else? Oh, yeah, Goodman Grove, which also, this is at the $12 mark, comes with Frog Fractions 2. Riddle me this, gentlemen. I thought Goodman Grove was Frog Fractions 2?
they're embedded or something. I was doing some research. Yeah. Frog Fractions is this weird Ouroboros of a game that is an ARG computer game.
If you've never played the original, you can find the Flash SWF for the original Frog Fractions.
Oh yeah, no, it's something that'll fuck it up. There's only 4 Linux games in there, and it's kind of a shame that Headlander never actually made it to Linux, because that looks like a pretty fun Metroidvania that you can sort of like steal bodies and run around with them.
Yeah, that was the one Double Fine game where they just outright refused to bring to Linux. There was a bunch of people who asked.
It was something with like, it was their latest iteration and like the last version that they were going to use with that engine, and it would take like a bunch of work to get the OpenGL support in there. Just like, listen, they keep supporting Linux in all the future games. It's just that one that they can't bother to be asked.
But yeah, no, Frog Fractions 2 is when you get to a certain point in Glittermitten Grove. That's a really hard name for me to say for some reason. You actually get to play Frog Fractions 2, and the developer, I remember him saying, the moment someone found Frog Fractions 2, that's half of the game just done. You could play it, but the first half of the game, that was it. That was the whole ARG bit of it.
Well, I think one of the fun things that was fun about Goodman Grove was it was almost 2 years. I mean, they released this game on Steam, which had Frog Fractions 2 in it, didn't tell anyone, and it took that long for it to be organically discovered.
Yep. So, good on you.
It's like the Duck Hunt thing, where they discovered that Duck Hunt was actually multiplayer like years later.
What do you mean discover? That's why you gave your friend the second controller so he could control the duck. Sometimes.
Whoa, go duck yourself, then.
Nah. All right. We got to talk about this KSP, Kerbal Space Program. It was acquired by Take-Two Interactive. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You might remember last week we did talk that a couple of the key employees, not key, all right, we're just making that up. Some of the employees left to take a job at Valve, and that definitely was a thing. And they was like, hey man, yeah, they helped work on some stuff, and then they're no longer working on the stuff, and Valve hired him. Okay. But it did make me think for a hot second. It's like, well, is there any more to this? Possibly, you know? And I kind of think this was it. With Take-Two kind of walking in, and some people went, you know what? I might not get to make games at Valve, but it's probably better than burning out at Take-Two. But this does kind of worry me just a bit, because it could mean that rocket fuel is going to becoming purchasable through micropayments.
Microtransactions, yes.
I'm a little skeptical about your theory there, just because the article we talked about last week, where they were talking about Valve scooping up those devs, those guys had left a year ago. Now it's possible that the buyout was internally announced then, but that's not a definite thing. That's just the spinning up the speculation drive there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're connecting the yarn and stuff like that with the I Want to Believe poster, but it could have been something incoming. It's like, or it could have been, you know, at the start of talks, and they're like, oh, nope, we're out.
Yeah, and
it's or they could have just been shit canned, and the Kerbal Space guys are just like, yeah, let's just be polite about it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with Ven on that one. It's like, oh, so we have a chance to either work for Valve or work for Take-Two. No, hi Gabe, how you doing? Hi.
And a lot of people I know will probably bring up, there was a lot of controversy with the developers not getting paid right and all that fun stuff. Go do a Google search on that, but it's a bunch of he said type stuff. So who knows? But
let's talk about a less controversial topic, maybe religion.
Well, we could probably do that. I just kind of hope that KSP stays around in its form. I think it's a great educational tool, man.
Yeah. Kind of like Minecraft. But, you know what country doesn't get those kind of educational tools anymore? Uzbekistan.
Oh, man.
Yes. Why are we talking about Uzbekistan and LinuxGameCast Weekly? Well, because they decided to ban 34 games citing threat to civil peace and interreligious harmony. Really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the country where gay people are illegal is worried about religious harmony.
So let's have a look at the list. There are a couple of recognizable names. You get Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, Left 4 Dead 3. What do they know? Okay. Then you also have
No. You're looking at it. This is Valve stealth announcing Left 4 Dead 3.
I guess so, yeah. Apparently the Uzbekistan government knows something we don't. They also have, let's see, Fallout New Vegas, Doom 3, Doom 4. It's not called Doom 4, but whatever. Sama. Why Sama? I mean, you'd think that either of the Amnesias would be a better fit. I mean, for completely opposite reasons between Dark Descent and Machine for Pigs, but better fit nonetheless.
Well, I mean, Uzbekistan could just simply be hydrophobic.
Could be, yes.
I mean, I'm a bit confused too, because they banned the first Phantasmagoria, but not the second one, which is the one that had all the gay shit in it.
Oh, no. They also banned the first Silent Hill, but you remember Silent Hill 3, which carries on the exact same story, right? They didn't ban that one.
Yeah, as it turns out, maybe banning video games doesn't actually accomplish anything, and it's just a moralistic victory for certain people who think, oh, media is bad and we should ban things because context doesn't exist and we don't want people to think for themselves.
Well, it's also a very dangerous and stupid thing. Any type of internet censorship, all that does is start teaching people how to get around it. So,
yeah.
Good job,
do you want piracy?
Dumbasses, right?
Do you want piracy? This is how you get piracy. Tons of it.
Oh man, but let's stop getting political. Let's talk about text adventures. Everyone likes a good MUD, and by everyone I mean nobody. But back in the day when you didn't have fancy video cards that you could plug into your Linux box via Thunderbolt dock, and you didn't even have Linux, you had Unix. There were games like Adventure. Now, this is from esribiblio.com. Someone has released a version-controlled, updated, modern version of the first text adventure game, colloquially known as Adventure. And this is actually a follow-up to this was actually last year. Someone had dug up the tapes that had a copy of the original game, updated it to a modern dialect of C. And I downloaded it, I compiled it, I played it for a little bit. Within the first 5 minutes, you can go to a vending machine and buy condoms. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board here. But this is a further updated version. They've updated it to the modern version of C. They've added some version control, so now they can maintain it. And I mean, this is just a cool piece of computer gaming history that people tend to forget about. Early text interpreter games like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Adventure and all this stuff paved the way for a lot of stuff like Ultima and King's Quest. And it's good to see that some of it's being archived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this game, all things considered, this is from 1977. This is older than most people here watching us right now.
Maybe not Steve.
Maybe not Steve, but just about everyone else.
No, that's definitely a thing. It's kind of neat, and maybe we'll play it for a live stream because we would clearly have the bandwidth to stream that.
I'll fucking do it, man. I actually have it compiled right now.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of compiling, what's this about Object Pascal?
I don't know, Pedro. You included this in the in the show notes. But we talked about the Castle game engine a long time ago. This is a game engine written in Objective Pascal. And there isn't really an update here, but one of the guys behind the Castle intro has put out a bunch of articles in an ebook on some more advanced programming practices with Objective Pascal. And you might be tempted to ask why. And the answer is because it's the same thing. It's the same reason why people maintain Objective Camel or Fortran or Gambas. That's the sunk cost fallacy. People have said, I've dedicated a large portion of my time and effort to learning and spreading out this language that no one uses because Python and C++ exist. But god damn it, I'm going to make it, I'm going to document it so that I can say, you should use my Objective Pascal because you haven't used it since your intro programming class in grade school in the 80s. And now's the time for it to come back.
I don't know. What do you think the under and over is people actually looking for jobs that have Pascal anywhere in the
Yeah, I haven't seen.
There's probably a couple. We're gonna get some hate mail next week.
In my
I'm a Pascal
intro to programming in university, which was in around 2005, 2004, 2005, somewhere around there, I learned the very basics of Pascal, but it's modern object-oriented Pascal. That was the sole neat factor that I went, oh yeah, no, this is going in the notes.
Oh, it's better than we're going to start with Fortran. I'm not making this up. I'm that old. Not that it was really being used, but it's like you're going to learn the fundamentals. What?
My cousin's husband is a Fortran programmer.
What?
My cousin's husband is a Fortran programmer.
What?
Still around. What?
Well, hey man, it's a project. It's kind of neat. If you're into that thing, man, right?
Indeed. All right, coming up next, we got a lot of dirty dishes. Just so many. It makes me smile and maybe makes me want to scrub them with some chairs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to go clean some dishes, much like good system administrators. We're going to empty a sink and be famous with the fact that there are more dishes. This is the Dishwasher, Vampire Smile. It's brought to you by Ska Studios, who brought us Salt and Sanctuary, Charlie Murder, and the lovely, sexy Flippity Jibbibo. It's on the FNA engine, of course. If Flippit's involved, it's got to be. You can pick it up for around 10 of your local wet, stinky currency. What is it? Embark on a blood-soaked quest for vengeance as either Yuki, a machine-armed, mentally unraveling prisoner, or the Dishwasher, a relentless, reanimated samurai, against the corrupted leaders of the society, the banker, the general, and the Yudge. All right, well, let's kick off this chairquisition with the chairs. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means it's awesome. We got our categories, Oh Doom, Make Was the Working, Shiny Sounds, Controls, and Fun. So let's kick this off with a big old smile on our face. Ben, smile at us. Did it work?
Sweetheart, we've made it this far. Let's just keep on rocking and rolling. Hey, man. Over here on the box of business, the 8150 AMD powered with a 980 displayed at UHD. Didn't bother with this game because I kind of knew it was locked at 60, and that's what I was looking for. Played it at the 1080p's to see how it worked. Nothing to complain about. You cut everything up. Yeah, if you're looking at the video, it's not a lot to cut up. Not saying it looks bad. More of that in the Shiny and Sound section. Holds a solid 60. Couple of bugs, maybe bugs. I don't even know if they're reproducible, but this did happen. You can go back and watch our live stream that Jordan and myself did as part of Patreon. Live stream Thursday. We had to restart once in multiplayer, but compared to Charlie Murder, where we had to hack the system by attacking Jordan, which was kind of fun in its own way. This only happened once, but that same bug did happen, and I've had this happen not just in multiplayer, but just in Forever Alone mode, is the button prompts. This game always shows up, and you probably cut them off. I just didn't research long enough to do that. They would revert back to keyboard mappings and showing me that on the screen, which was very annoying, but nothing to ding at a chair for. So we're doing good. We got a little bit of hope for it, just a little bit with those 4 chairs out of the gate.
Never ran into the input switching bug thing where it would give you the keyboard prompts, and I played this game for quite a bit. But holy shit, you guys, the multiplayer works! Sorta, kinda. We'll get to that in the Shiny Sound section. 4 chairs on Fedora 20, 64-bit with the i7-6700K and the GTX 980.
Over here on Ubuntu Mate. Actually using the Mate session this time since Kitty decided to crap the bed. Absolutely no issues. It holds 60. It's an Xbox 360 game. Chances are it was going to hold, and Flippit did the port. It was going to run well. So over here with the FX 8370E and the GTX 1080, it gets a 4 chairs.
All right. Well, that is 4 chairs for the Makes With the Working. Up next, it's the Shiny and the Sounds. Ben, does it shine like your teeth sparkle?
Well, hey man, I do enjoy the art style from these cats. Lads and ladettes over at the Skas, man. I like it, man. It's fluid, it's dark and it's gory as hell. They do enjoy their gore, and man, I loved 80s Thrasher movies, we got that in common, man. But Yeah, hey, check it out. You're looking at the video again. It still has that cardboard cutout, like pulp magazine style feel to it. But you know what? It works for a brawler. You know, I liked it in Charlie Murder. I like it here. You can definitely see some evolution in said art style. So when it comes to the audio, hey man, it makes noises and shit when you hit stuff. So really there's nothing to complain about, since you won't be focused on the sounds this game makes in the first place, because if you do, you're going to get killed to death for a lot of different reasons, man. This thing looks beautiful for what it's trying to do, and it's got the sounds that you would expect. They're not chiptunes. Bonus soda on that. I get to give it another 4.
Okay, I'm gonna preempt this. I would have given this 3 chairs, because I really like the art style in this game. I'm with Ben. It looks great. What I don't like, though, is the monotone color scheme and the splatters and the particle effects everywhere that make it incredibly difficult to just keep track of your character. You lose them constantly in single player, in multiplayer. I can't tell where the hell I am. It's frustrating, is what it is. And the sound effects are good. You get it's the Charlie Murder meat thwacking sound effects. They sound great. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I cannot play this game if I can't see my character, and that just frustrates me to no end. I gotta give it dings a chair for that. So 2.
Yeah, you know how in Charlie Murder you keep losing track of your character in multiplayer? Well, here, like Jordan already mentioned, you keep losing track of your character in single player. Now, that said, I didn't hate the background music on this one. It stayed on the whole time. It was much more subtle, so I guess that's a bonus. And while the animation is a lot rougher than their latter titles, like Charlie Murder and Salt and Sanctuary, the general visual aesthetics fit the game very well. And you can tell that this game came out before Charlie Murder and Salt and Sanctuary because of the animations. They're very, very janky in places. But more on that later. As for Shiny and Sounds, it gets 3 chairs.
Well, that is 3 whole chairs for the Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control. So, Ben, what'd you think?
Yeah, man. Everything works, mixed with the binding. You know, you can sort that out, make it play like you want it to. The only complaint, and you can definitely see both Jordan and I struggling with this during the multiplayer, was running up walls. I mean, seriously, you cannot rely on that mechanic to work 90% of the time, 100% of the time. You just can't. And considering the difficulty level with this, any added fuckery to you getting killed to death is worth a removal of 1 chair. So you get 3 chairs on your controls, nothing to complain about. Do got to get that, because that was reproducible, and you just got to be honest.
Yeah, I got around that. When Ben pointed this out, it's like, yeah, you can just fly with the dash. It doesn't really stop you from doing it. But that being said, it's a Blipit port, so everything works. You can plug in your freaking Atari 2600 controller, and it will still probably work with this game. But one thing that kind of bugged me, that's going to ding it a chair, they go so far as to give you a combo list that you can't really execute 90% of the time. It's pretty spray and pray. And, you know, sometimes when you want to get that combo meter up, because you need to start bringing up the damage, or else you're just going to get flooded with all sorts of horrible baddies that want to eat your face, it just becomes kind of frustrating when you're like, oh, I want to launch this guy up in the air with this didn't work because I was a split second off, and now they're eating my face. Oh, I'm dead. Beyond that, though, everything works. I tried it with the Xbox controller. I tried it with the DualShock PlayStation 4 controller. Correct prompts and everything. Again, what you come to expect from ports from Mr. Flippity Jibbity Bibbidi. 3 chairs.
Yeah, no, this is button mash, the game. I'm serious. I don't feel like I'm improving all that much in this game as I play. I often feel like it's just blind luck that my button mashing has just the right timing to stun lock 3 or 4 enemies at once. That said, each thwack of the violence hammer, as they call it, feels very satisfying. Only bosses or mini bosses don't immediately get pummeled into the floor with it, so it's at least got that going for it. But the whole button mashing and it just feeling like a crapshoot whenever or as to whether or not I'm making progress, well, that gets it a chair dinged. So 3 chairs.
Well, that's 3 chairs for the controls. Let's wrap this up then. Did you have fun with the dishwasher vampire simile?
The vampire washer, dishwasher chronicles. Hey man, check it out. On normal, this game is being hard on purpose. I mean, a multiplayer, the hard is almost welcome since it causes you to break out of the fuck around mode and actually kind of focus on the business. In single player, the hard can simply fuck right off because you're already focusing on things like, well, your friends never come around anymore, and you're playing in forever alone mode. Doesn't that sound fun? No. It kind of sounds like a mixed bag, because here's the dice, ladies and gentlemen. Like Charlie Murderator, this is a no apologies brawler. Upgrades, power-ups, low-yield thermonuclear nukes, enchanted weasels. Yeah, none of those are going to save you from getting killed to death early and often, because that's in this game's DNA. That's how they like it. Hell, I mean, this game is quite proud of how efficient it is at killing you, but I'm going to let P-Baby rap about that. So, boiled down, what do you have with that question, Mark? You basically got Streets of Rage on Fuck Mothering 11, and that's a great thing. It's a fantastic thing. It's something I love. Does it have a story? Dunno. Don't really care in the slightest, because games like this serve one purpose to me. Mash buttons and chill the fuck out. That's what I like about Brawlers, unfortunately. This one had a big old swing and a miss on that chill the fuck out part. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. I don't need hard. I don't need fuck you difficulty in my chill the hell out games. And this one has it in spades. This, I think, for Ska was just another step, another progression towards what they were ultimately looking to make. And that game was Salt and Sanctuary. And they made the fuck out of that. That's an excellent game. And it's not a brawler. And it has all the mechanics leading up to it that make that type of game really good. Unfortunately, with the heritage, maybe a step before that. This game, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm going to say this. In multiplayer, it is kind of fun. It is kind of fun because you hit those focus points. You can tell Jordan and I are just rapping in conversation. It's like, oh shit, we got to get serious here and play around. But then you go back to single player and you just, where's the popcorn? And fuck this. It's too... I don't like easy games. I like Hollow Knight, all right? So I'm not a big fan of easy games, but this just is being hard on purpose. So if you're going to be playing it by yourself without some mates around, you might want to think about skipping it. But if you got someone to play with online, I can definitely give this 2 chairs. Maybe you want to throw an asterisk on top of that with, just depending on what your jam is.
Yeah, this is a much less refined Charlie Murder, which makes sense because they made this game before Charlie Murder. But where that game had a lot of attitude, charm, and colorful characters to complement the gameplay, this just devolves into straight up button mashing, and it really doesn't do that much for me. They have the Pretty Princess mode. Pedro will talk about that a little bit more. But the easy mode is genuinely like way too easy. I made it to the very end of the game, to the last boss. And I just wasn't even trying. I was just kind of dicking around, mashing buttons, and eventually I got to the end. I mean, after getting stuck on a few places on normal, because that took the FTL approach of, you want to play FTL if you're starting off on easy, because normal will just kick your ass. Normal expects that you have mastered easy. But yeah, if on easy mode, you do need to be a special kind of dumb to drop below like 50% health on any of the fights. I like a learning curve in my game. I like much like Pedro. I like to see my ability to progress. I like to make sure that I am steadily improving. That the challenges aren't becoming easier. I'm just getting better. And this it's not really present here. You just learn how to button mash with greater efficacy, and eventually you unlock powers, and I'm partial to the giant hypodermic syringe that you can stab people with, and all sorts of, you got all sorts of crazy weapons that you can use to effectively kill people, and eventually you will break your way through. I mean, like I said before, there's like move lists and combos and stuff that you can sort of execute half the time, sort of, kind of, not really. It doesn't really do it for me. If you're into like super hard brawlers, you might get something out of it. Otherwise, I'd say just, stick with Charlie Murder or go to Salt and Sanctuary. 2 chairs.
Yeah. Now, this game will actively mock you if you're not doing good enough. Die twice in a row, you unlock the Pretty Princess difficulty level where not only is everything piss easy, the game gets a rainbow-style color palette, and instead of blood, enemies bleed out those pink, glowy heart shapes that you see. The quote-unquote achievement you get when you unlock the Pretty Princess difficulty also takes a nice potshot at game reviewers who bitched about the previous Dishwasher game being too hard. And while I appreciate a game calling me a scrub and beating my ass down, case in point, I very much enjoyed Hollow Knight and Salt and Sanctuary and other such damn hard games, but damn hard is only enjoyable up to the point where you feel like each failure you're getting better, you're getting progressively better, and eventually overcome the challenge. In Vampire Smile, like I mentioned in Controls, I don't feel like I'm getting better at all. The simple fact that I managed to beat the game because I played all the way through it still feels like blind luck. I didn't feel like I was improving and overcoming. I felt like I kept getting really lucky and stun-locking as many enemies as possible in one combo. While I still enjoy a great deal of things about this game, it is painfully obvious that Ska Studio still had, past tense, quite a bit to learn then. I've mentioned many times that, in my opinion, video games live or die on their mechanics. Aesthetics and narrative should serve to complement those mechanics and not get in the way. But when you're actively taking control away from me to show an overlong kill animation, or to show me a door has opened, or to tell me where to go, or to show me that the key I just picked up unlocked the door I'm standing in front of, that doesn't feel like an organic video game experience. It feels condescending and, if we're being honest, a little bit pretentious. Oh, look at this awesome art I put in. Look at it. Don't want to look at it? Tough. Because you're going to be sitting there for a full 3 seconds until you learn to enjoy it. So no, I didn't actually enjoy the Dishwasher Vampire Smile very much. 2 chairs.
I mean, oh man, you gotta look at something for 3 whole seconds. That's super uncomfortable.
Yes, for 3 whole seconds every single time you pick up that damn key. Yeah.
I was gonna wait 3 seconds in silence, but you just ruined my gag. That's 2 chairs and an asteroid for fun. Tally all that up, and we get 3 chairs for the Dishwasher Vampire Smile. Tell us what you thought about it in the final thoughts segment, people.
Well, when you're looking at it, you get to think, I mean, this was originally designed for the Expo and audience, and, well, if we're going to be honest, we're going to be genuine with each other. It primarily consists of people, who basically, and we all have these friends, people who've smoked themselves retarded.
Hi!
No, well, way worse than Jordan, you don't, you're not even, you know the types I'm talking about. Which leads me to believe that, at some point in their history, Ska hated stoners. But I don't know. That's just an opinion.
Yeah. While I don't enjoy this game in particular, I did very much enjoy the other games that Ska Studios released afterwards. Charlie Murder was a very clear improvement on this formula, and Salt and Sanctuary proved to me that, yes, this lot can make a truly awesome game. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is very much a stepping stone on the way to these other games. And, I mean, we're sort of reviewing these games in reverse order, too. So it's kind of hard to go from, like, Salt and Sanctuary to Charlie Murder to this and be like, oh, man, these guys suck because they haven't learned anything. Well, clearly they have. So, this is an interesting artifact. It's available on Linux, so pick it up if you want to support these guys and Ethan. But if you're looking for something to actually play and have fun with, I'd give this one a pass. Coming up next, holy moly, we have a huge-ass hate mail segment, and Strider actually got something working for a change.
Oh, yes, we've been running late this evening, yes. Was Jordan's internet issues, and then, well, I kind of went long on my fun spiel, as usual, so what else is new? But hey, if you'd like to point out just how rambly I am, you can go to LinuxGameCast.com, you hit the contact button, it's pretty easy, fill out the form, just leave us your message, it's easy enough. Of course, if you are a game developer or a budding game developer, and you want us to play your game and talk about it, make sure to either send us a copy we can share among the three of us, or 3 Steam keys if you're already on Steam. That is neat. That is really, really neat, because if you don't, we will make fun of you, and you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. So this week, we seem to be a bit lacking in the hate department, but we sure have some mail. And Joshua is the first one up, and he says, what's the best program for gamepad mapping on Linux? And I'm totally...
SDL2.
Xbox.
Yes, if you're a game developer, you just use SDL2. Chances are everything else will take care of it. But I'm totally going to plagiarize my way through Strider's comment that he left us a comment on the show notes. And he says, SC controller if you have a Steam controller. Yes. And you want to play your games that are not on Steam. If you want to play games that are on Steam, you can use Steam Big Picture mode, or you could actually probably add those games as non-Steam shortcuts, and it will pick up on whatever bindings you have set up in Big Picture mode. He also suggests Xbox DRV if you like editing config files or long command lines. Yeah, Xbox DRV does have a bit of that. He mentions Anti-Micro and Joy2Key if you're into old software. And he ends with saying Lutris 2018 or 2019 if you have a time machine. Because while Lutris does a very good job already of setting up controllers, if you have just a standard Xbox 360 controller, many games that support it will also work if you install it with Lutris, because Strider is doing all of that in the back end to make sure that those runners pull all the necessary config files.
Yeah, to harp on Strider's thing as well, Xbox DRV is probably the way to go, just because you can. There's enough support out there that you can Google search how I make Xbox DRV work with the controller, so on. You'll probably find something. I'll throw another thing in for SC controller for the Steam controller because it works. I've tested it. It's pretty solid.
All right. Hey man, Random Basky throws in, he's like, I guess because I'm used to Vin looking like he just shot a half-assed metal music video. Hey, it's giving me too much credit. Half-ass. That's what I aspire to. It's odd seeing him with more color than myself. A pasty ginger. Don't we have all the ginger? We have the best gingers. I'm not sure if I like the rest of the format change or not yet. You mean the lower third? Nope.
Yeah, we didn't really change it.
We haven't really changed our format since like 2012.
Right.
So
I'll have to give it a few more episodes before I'm sure. I don't know this, unless our new format is episode 25, not just the cluster fucking. I don't know.
Just every week, just add additional elements to like. Oh no! Now we're doing it on Discord, on Android, in VirtualBox. Through tin cans, the works.
Right. Now, Chloe, I will agree with you. It always looks weird to just look at Ben and see some actual color. So that takes some getting used to. Yeah, see that?
It's weird for me. I've been working with this guy for like 5 years, and he's always been this like sepia tone thing, and it's just
pasty,
like,
just pasty, completely pasty white.
I hate to break it to anybody watching. This is better at adjusting a facsimile. You can kind of tell when I'm not in the lights that there's not a whole lot of VIN color there, unless we got some good light on us.
He looks like a Buster Keaton movie. So up next, we got The Wall. He says, great show you guys are running. While I already told this to Ven on the Twitters, I have to give the guy some mad props for his fine upstanding Cannibals wall. I must say that the fuck wall is genius. From Jesong. Yeah, I gotta admit, the fuck wall was pretty good. He kind of sprung that on us, and I had to give him a slow clap because it was...
Now it just needs to be hung somewhere.
Right next to the wheel of Booga Booga. We need an actual prop for the wheel.
Something we're definitely going to be doing right there. It's going to get mounted, giggity. And you can always rely on me to come up with at least one half-assed decent idea every 5 years. Guaranteed.
Indeed. And then you resort to me naming shit, and you get gems like Weekly, Daily, Wednesday, and the Busted Ass Early Access show.
Right.
So...
All right.
All right, so I guess the last one comes from Costa. And he says, loving the shows and chipping in whatever I can to support via my Amazon purchases. I'm hoping to tap the collective wisdom of presenters and those watching. I have played Warhammer Dark Omen on and off since its release in the late 90s. Yep, this total time sink was a Win9X game. That is probably the last vestige of double bootdom for yours truly. Wait, you're still dual booting Windows 98? Really? And I've tried getting it running under
I gotta
Wine.
give you credit for that.
Yeah, I've tried getting it running under Wine and under VirtualBox with various guests to no avail. It's a long shot, but does anyone have the magic sauce to get this running on a Linux host? Well,
Strider does.
Yeah,
Oh.
Strider does. I genuinely tried. There'll be links in the show notes you can see. I just have Play on Linux open, and I set up the thing, and I tried it. I even downloaded a mod pack that a lot of people recommend if you're trying to run the game in newer versions of Windows. And I thought maybe this will get it working in Wine. It didn't. But Strider managed to, using Zephyr, managed to sort of conjure up some weird-ass thing that gets the game to start.
PC Demo to mount an ISO. I'll throw this in the news post just because this is kind of mental. But you're using an X within X compatibility layer to run something at 640 by 480
at 16 colors. Oh, that seems to be the big 16 issue.
Colors. He's integrating this in Lutris, so eventually you're just going to be able to one-click play this. But it's a little mental. At the very beginning of the show, he's like, "Man, I got to get this finished before the hate mail segment." Lo and behold. And he has right access to this file because he is on the other show that we do on Wednesdays. He added this. He snuck this in. It's kind of mental. I got to give him props for that. He for a French guy, he really doesn't know when to give up. I gotta give him some.
Hey man, I thought that was kind of brilliant. I mean, good on you, Matsuo. Come on, simply because I made it as far as. That name of that game, Wine HQ, the database that said garbage. I was like, all right, I'm out.
I tried when I tried it without the mod. It just said, it threw out a bunch of the direct draw errors saying that it couldn't find anything to flip. It's kind of weird. But then I tried the mod and it got rid of those errors, but it still had some direct draw issues. And apparently, it was the 16 color bit depth that was. That basically the game won't run at 32. Yeah.
Well, it's a little mental. Goes to show you, Strider is legitimately mentally ill.
And on that deranged bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us attempting to start the show at 9:30 Eastern Moon Time. Punch that into your calculatotron or just go to our schedule button. It's there. It'll do the maths for you. Same thing on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and it'll give you the auto notification to be like, yo, they're attempting to go live and failing miserably for the first hour and a half. But we're used to it. We know how to roll with that. If you want to scream at me, at Vinstone on the Twitters and plus Vinstone on the G Plus thing.
I'm Jordan Svung. You can find me constantly crawling through the internet tubes of Canada with a plunger and some Drano, desperately trying to get some traffic through at The Burning Fool on Twitter, plus Jordan Svung on Google+.
And I am Pedro Mateos, and today I learned Jordan is Canadian Mario. Please don't sue us, Nintendo. I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted4 on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
Well, I think we should all be grateful right there at the end for Pedro throwing that show title in. Canadian Mario. LGC cares, bitches.
It's like every now and again I'll have that one bit, teeny tiny bit of mildly entertaining things.
So does that mean that Pedro is Luigi Ven is Luigi, Pedro is Peach?
Yes.
Or maybe he's Toad because he's a little mushroom man.
Okay. I could go with Toad.
I go by 5 dudes.